Okay, hello guys. I'm gonna go over today on how to set up a tool called vRIN. I've been messing around with this tool just a little bit, and I think it'll be really helpful throughout the trainings we're going to be doing to add, basically just dump a bunch of routes into our IGP setups or our BGP. So as you can see here with Gen S3, you basically just go to your appliances here, and it's a free tool. You go through this and click on the latest version, and then it's not showing up right now since I already have it, but you can basically, oh, here there is, you just go to download and it'll download, and then you just install it. So I already have it here, so we're just gonna go ahead and set it up real quick, just go through it. So let me just go ahead and drop it into my lab here. We're gonna go set up U30 to 111 on our Alcatel box here. And let's go ahead and set up the box. So, okay, so this is a brand new box. There's no configuration on it, so router 6 is what we'll go with here. And we're gonna follow our subnet scheme. So let's make sure that the cards are configured. Okay, so I've kept this handy dandy cheat sheet here for ease of configuration throughout the lab. When you load up new nodes, this little notes like this kind of come in handy. So configure the card 1, card type. This is the standard config, so this is why I just copy and paste it every time. So just go ahead and do that. Save this guy. So now we can see show cards up. Okay. So we're gonna add a system address. And 6 for router 6. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, configure system 10.10.10.6. Oops. 32. Alright, so show router interface. So here's our system interface. It's up. And configure port 114, as you can see here. Always helpful to make sure you populate these on your topology view on GNS. Comes in real handy. And then also, if you just hover over, you can kind of get an idea here. 114, it shows in the description there. Alright, so let's get this description to router 2. Shut down. That's it. Here router interface to router 2, and the same subnet scheme as before. We're gonna go 10.622.2.6 for router 6 /24. Oops. Okay, and assign it a port 114. Okay, so we got here. Okay, so that one's good to go. Now let's take a look at router 2. And this is from a previous lab that I have set up, so there's some configuration on here, and this has ISIS running on this topology here. So let's go ahead and go show router interface. Oh, sorry. Configure router interface to router 6. And we're going to go with address 10.622 .6/24. Oops, sorry. .2/24 for router 2. And this is going to be hanging off of port 114 as well. Alright. Okay. So alright, so just always remember to make sure your ports are up. Alright, basic stuff is out of the way. So let's go ahead and get some routes generated into our topology here. So what we're going to do from router 6, we're going to create an Ospf area 0. And add the interface. Well, we gotta make an interface too. Okay, so here's our area 0. So configure router interface, and we're gonna go to vRIN, and we're gonna go ahead and just do 10. Alright, let's see. We're gonna go with 10.627 .6/24. Okay, 4111. Shut. Okay. So there's our interface. It's up, facing from 111 here to our vRIN box. So configure router in Ospf area 0. So now we can add interface to vRIN. And we're going to hit interface type. We'll make this a broadcast. That's it all. Now, let's go ahead and get this guy going here. So it's pretty simple. Once you load it into your GNS, just open it. Wait for it to load. Go ahead and just add our system interface into Ospf while this waits. Okay. Alright, always admin save. Don't want to lose your config in the middle of your lab. So for vRIN, it's created on a Linux box, so root, password vRIN, pretty simple stuff. Alright, so I'm gonna go through the steps here. So A, configure physical interface. So interface hanging back towards our router. So we're gonna go with 10.6.7.7, and that's gonna be our vRIN box. So we can name this router, so VR7. Let's go with that. And next, 24. Our network is going to be 10.6.7.0, 10.6.7.6. Okay. And then it just gives you default IPv6 stuff here. So loopback interface, it's already pre-configured and you don't have to do anything about that, that's fine. Routing protocol, so with the spacebar, get rid of BGP, OSPF3 for IPv6, don't need RIP. And authentication settings, make sure it's a none, which I think it's default. Prefixes, so let's just go ahead and do first IPv6, okay. So the number of prefixes, so we can do whatever. I mean, whatever's fine. Just do 100 prefixes. Then you can do show all settings here. So 10.6.7.7. So I think I just want to point something out here since I've been messing around with this a little bit. So if I go ping.10.6.7.7, there's nothing there. So just make sure you generate the routes, and that kind of pushes out the config. As you can see, there's my ping. So completed routes are being advertised. So now you can also exit the shell, and you got a nice little command box here. So you can use this to look at your config here. So do a show IF config there, and you can see that your Ethernet 1 or whatever this is configured correctly, and then you got your subnet and your broadcast and all that. Alright, so we are pinging back and forth, which is good. And just to get back into the box, if you scroll over to the top, you can see the command is giving in here somewhere. So if you want to reload it, let's see where it was. Sorry about that. Here it is. So root.vRIN. Okay. So now we're back in business. So the routes are being advertised. 100 prefixes. So show all your settings here. And let's go take a look at this. Okay, so show router, Ospf, neighbor. So okay. So this is the next hiccup I've noticed here. So if you load up a vRIN box and start an Ospf session with a Cisco box, its default MTU is 1500. So this is going back to what we talked about before. Now configure, this took me a while to figure out what was going on, because if you do a capture and you drop Wireshark into this, so you can see the hello packets are there from both sides. And then that kind of got me thinking, well, what's going on here? You know, they're there, and then having it so fresh in my mind about the last session here, we're stuck in the exchange start. So I went and looked at the configure port 111 Ethernet MTU. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this, well, let me show you guys what it's default to. 419 match MTU. So 8936. So that's pretty high. What I figured out is this is just defaulted to 1500 MTU. So let's go ahead and change the port. Ethernet MTU, so we'll make it 1514, because remember the 14 bytes are being used for the source address, destination address, and the ether type. So 1514. Now we take a look at show router interface to vRIN. Sorry. Detail. And our operational MTU is now 1500. It took the 14 bytes away, so neighbor. So now we're in full. We have an adjacency connected to our vRIN box, which is generating 100 prefixes. So now if we go show router route table, you can see here all of my routes being advertised. So 4 extra routes, those are my local routes, and 1 over to router 2, and then system address and all that. Alright, so we're getting somewhere here. So now take it a step further here, there is an ISIS adjacency over here. So show router ISIS adjacency to router 4, which is this guy. So let's go ahead and make one to router 6. Area ID, so 49.01. Then there's our ISIS setup, initial stages. So let's go ahead and do the router interface to router 2. And again, we're gonna go. It's always good to document this stuff as you're going along here. So we're gonna do 10.62.0/24 on this link here. Okay, so configure router. So address 10.6.2.6/24. Okay, and port's gonna be 114. Okay. So here we are, to router 2 from router 4, 10.6.2. Alright, so then configure router ISIS area 49 interface. Oh, so yeah, add the interface to router 2. Alright. Alright. I know I'm a freak about admin safe, but I've been doing this for a few months, and having the 1 hour limit on these boxes is pretty frustrating. So router 2, so since there's already a ISIS adjacency set up here, or area I mean, just go ahead and do configure router interface to router 6 and the address, so 10.6.2.2/24, and port's going to be 114. Enough shot, make sure that's always good. Interface. Alright, so router interface back to router 4 or router 6 is good to go. So now we can add this to our ISIS interface to router 6. Okay, so show router ISIS adjacency, so we're good to go there. So there's a level 2 adjacency here. Now this is a really basic setup for right now. We're gonna do so the whole reason why I'm doing this short video here is, one, to show the vRIN setup. I think this is a pretty cool tool. It's gonna come in real handy with my training. And then also the biggest thing will be just a simple little thing we can do here is, if we wanna go ahead and export, let's see, so I'm gonna do the big advantage I think will be is adding BGP routes and doing policy options here, but so I'm taking a different route. I'm doing Ospf and bringing those into our ISIS area, which is here. So policy options, so we'll begin, and let's go ahead and prefix list, let's call it Ospf routes. Prefix, so we did 192.168.0.1. we only did 100 routes, so /24 is going to be fine. Oops, prefix this. Prefix list. back here. Screen got a little messy there. So prefix list, Ospf routes, prefix 192.168.0.1/24. Alright, must be IP prefix mask. Okay, so prefix things. .0. That's my problem, I think. Yep, sorry about that. So this is the fun part about doing labs, is figuring stuff out as you're going. Alright, so our prefix, so there it is. Now I'm gonna see, let's see, options, prefix this. Okay, longer, okay. So policy statement. And let's see. Call this Ospf routes. Okay, so entry 10. Okay, so this is some from the protocol Ospf. We're gonna take it to protocol ISIS. Action accept. Okay. You want to make sure you commit this stuff. Alright. And so we're going from, kind of just to wrap it up, so vRIN is injecting 100 routes into my, through Ospf, through this Ospf area 0 that I've created here. Oh my god, what is this? Alright, well, never mind that. Let's see if this gives me, no, never mind. Anyway, so there's area 0 here. So we can area 0 there. And just go ahead and stop this capture here. And then from here to here, well, all of this, it's an ISIS area 4901. So let's go ahead and save this. Now let's go ahead and bring it into our ISIS. So show router route table. You can see it's there. So we're only learning 5 routes here. So let's go to configure router ISIS, export Ospf routes. So let's see if I got it. Alright, so there we go. So we're injecting the 100 routes from vRIN into Ospf area 0, and then we created a policy statement that's taking them from protocol to protocol. So from Ospf here to ISIS in our router 2 here. Now let's go ahead and save these configs. And if I were to boot these other routers up here, let's see, just give these a minute here. Okay. So let's reload. It's been a hard time. So another thing that I've also kind of learned a lot of knowledge and using is setting up this VM and this GNS3 and working my way around it. So if anybody ever has questions and they're setting up their own environment, they kind of run into a problem, feel free to drop me a line. Maybe I could help out a little bit. You know, I do a lot of Googling on it and I've learned a lot. There are a lot of problems that happen and I've had to start from scratch many times. So the frustration's there, but once you get it dialed in, you know, just make sure you don't update. For example, VMware just released an update recently and it just didn't play nice with the GNS3 version, so I had to uninstall everything and reinstall it. So you'll run into those issues with GNS3, but overall it's a great tool. Really enjoy using it to learn. It's great to just do wacky things and not worry about damaging any equipment or breaking something on a network. Alright, so this took a while, but let's just wait for these to load up here. Alright, so we got an adjacency on router 3 here. This guy. Going to 4, I'm going to 1. Alright, so there's our routes. Cool, so just wanted to wrap it up and show you guys the vRIN tool and using the policy statements and exporting routes from one protocol to another. And one final thing I wanted to add was the summarizing in a whole route. So as we can see, we do a show router route table here. So we get 100 routes, which is pretty crazy to look at and digest. So through the export policy over to ISIS, same thing. So that's a lot. So route summarization needs to be configured on this guy that's getting all the routes injected into it. So we'll go to configure router ISIS, and in here we're going to do summary address 216.8.0.0/24, and it's going to be a level 2. That's what our adjacency is here, level 2 usage, and we're gonna go with, now so you can see all these routes are still being advertised here, but what we have on the ISIS adjacency router here, router 2, if we do a show router route table now, we get a nice cleaned up, just a full /24 and all the routes inside of it, and it just gives us the next hop address, so now we know where all that is going. So yeah, basically this video is just a bunch of different little things that we're going to be able to use in our future labs and how to incorporate them, and hopefully this was helpful for somebody.